Start streaming. All right. Can somebody go on the... I don't know whether do you get a streaming notification or what happens. But technically we're streaming now. And we're broadcasting. This is nuts. Is James around? James is my my awesome assistant. All the rest of you guys don't blow your computers up or whatever. I just got a notification of this sort of stream starting. Are you subscribed to that? Is that what happens? Checking it. All right. Thanks, Tom. Be interesting to see if this works any better or if it's just as much of a disaster. And I wonder, do I have to do something on the YouTube page? Where is that? Yep, YouTube stream is working. Oh, cool. So I guess that's what the guys do. So I guess we're streaming now. Man, that is going to be a fucking pain in the ass. So the question is this picture quality any better? Because this is the whole fucking reason why Julian wants me to do this. Tom, when you look at that stream, is the picture quality any better than these Google Hangout videos that we do? Because if it's not that much of a difference, I don't give a rat's ass. It's too much of a pain in the ass. But he says that this, is it 1080p? Does that make sense to you guys? It's 720p. So maybe I change that, because there's settings over here. Maybe I change that over here. Video. Video output is currently active. Please turn off any outputs to change video settings. And it says it's at base 1920 times 1080, 1280 times 720 output scaled resolution. So is there like a better one to do than that? Tom, you're my expert here. Whether you like it or not. Anyway. Oh, what is it? It would be 1080 instead of 720. Yeah, Benjamin, you're super smart too. So, okay, so I'll turn the stream off, and then we'll change that, and then we'll try again. And you guys tell me whether it's any better, okay? And how does the volume sound over there, Tom? Does it sound like crap? Did it get better than it was before? Sounds great. And is it less filling? Tastes great, less filling. Something like that. Way better. All right, thank you, Kevin. Okay, so we're going to stop this stream. Doesn't blow up. There we go. It says we're streaming. Merry Christmas. Is that any better? What do you think, guys? Any better screen resolution? Anyway. Just a FYI, Kevin, your camera's on, so don't pick your nose. Be careful. Hey, we're streaming out to the whole world, dude. I'm just kidding. Just play with it. It just looked funny. It looks like you were close. That nose wants to get picked. I'm just kidding. All right. So, any better? Was that worth all that headache, or is it basically just the same? Because really, there's the whole reason why we're doing this. Is it better picture quality? Beautiful. Is it enough of a difference, Benjamin, that it's worth doing? Putting my neck in the noose here. The text is readable. Oh no, it's 1080p now. What does that mean? That's better? Like, can you actually, does it make it worth the difference to make the change, Tom? Because if so, we'll do it, but if not, I won't. Yep, more readable. Okay, well, great. My fate is sealed. Okay, so anyway, here we are. Hopefully I can remember how to do this. I wonder if I have to save anything here just to make sure. Doesn't say so. Anyway, here we go. My boogers look great. I don't know. Does anybody feel like... actually, let's see what happens. So if I click on, say, Garrett, for example, what do you guys see? Do you just see his icon? And I wonder what happens, because we got what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people here. Where's the what the hell? How do I find that out? Live stream? Stream now? I think we should be on. So we're probably going to have to keep track. So what does it say here? So there's 16 people watching. So there must be 1 or 2 people that are watching that are... there's Benjamin over here. So Benjamin, the last thing he wrote was, works perfect for me now. Had no sound earlier. Okay, well, cool. So what do you feel like doing, guys? I mean, we can just spend an hour or two just looking at anything you want. Does anybody feel like looking at anything in particular? That's the whole point of this exercise, I suppose. Should I do a song and dance? Looks like I'm going to have to hop on my S&P short tomorrow morning. I'll have to book a small loss. Follow the trading plan. Be interesting to see where this thing opens up tomorrow morning. Bitcoin, of course. Nice big face rips. There must have been... Oh, actually, you're probably looking at Garrett's image right now. That's funny. Yeah, you are. That's what's on the stream. So people are like, yeah, this is kind of silly. I'm staring at Garrett's image. There we go. Now we've clicked to the Bitcoin chart. So we're looking at, I guess, a daily chart here of Bitcoin Flyer. This is the Japanese exchange. And actually, this isn't a bad message just for the public. And I think before we sort of left the last live streaming attempt, we were pressing against these highs. And where was that? That was right on this bar here, right? Just as this volume broke out. So we've played up, we've come back. Interesting how we've tagged a short-term moving average just basically right at that volume breakout level. See some sellers coming in. You know, it's a pretty active market here, no doubt about it. Is this the top? Everybody's always asking, is this the top? Well, tough to call that off a 5-minute chart. I was saying just before we left that last live broadcast that I was actually seriously watching this 4-hour inside bar. But I do see OBV still pretty strong. I don't know whether we have a volume impetus sell here. I do see that when the bears have the opportunity, they're also pretty weak, and so that's why OBV is still pointing up here. So I think it's still a little too early to call a top. And we were also watching China earlier. Where's our China chart? Where's our China chart? Ooh, we got some action here. This is interesting. So they opened up, and we were watching this on the open. They were probing higher. This is a 15-minute chart. So actually, this is a really good sort of educational piece for you guys here. So, you know, great example of opening of a new day, and the market just sort of sat there and breathed for probably a good hour or so. I was watching this, and it would be really interesting if we had an Asian news feed. My news feed kind of sucks. I used to use that CBS, I think it is, and they were really good, the Market Watch, but then, you know, I think basically they weren't making money with their advertising revenue, and they sort of put the kibosh on it, which sucks. But anyway, back to our story. So we were sort of watching on the open. The market pressed against these highs. You know, you saw what happened in Japan, just flying along there. Where's that chart? That's that one there. Big breakout, big volume. Japanese were definitely in a buying mood to start the day. You know, just looking at this chart, does it make sense that, hey, maybe we need to clean a bit of this up? Good old 50% rule, right? You could probably even do it off of the W here. Up to there, my hunch is that's probably somewhere around there. You know, 38.2 is probably right in there, and your reload zone probably is just going to be simply nothing more than a test of those previous highs. So, the market ratcheted itself up to here, right? And we can see that volume just pouring in here, and interesting how the moving averages are right there, right? And there is that old high. If we did a fib off of here and the market just tanked and lost it, I could very easily see reload zones are in this area in here. So I still think that this is just sort of, oops, there we go. We had a huge move up, and if anything, can you guys see the AB equals CD? AB right there to there, and then CD consolidation up into there. So I suppose one could argue, there's a nice little hammer there, and he might have been watching for an inside bar fail, but it broke to the upside. He could have had a bull-bear battle point there and just rode the bull. Very advanced stuff, though. You guys better have your trading plans, all your capital, your trading platform all up and running, ready to go if you're going to want to trade that kind of market. Here right now, and of course, we're looking at the higher time frames. If we just look at that higher time frames, is there any signs of top here yet? No. In fact, you can even see, look at the momentum in Japan. Momentum itself, usually, and actually this is a really cool one if you guys want to write this down somewhere. This is so fucking choice. I studied MACD for a long time, and I noticed that MACD, this histogram, it really likes to move in 4s, 8s, 12s, and 16s. For some reason, there's something important about that 4. So, we clearly can see the market structure down, up, down, breakout. So, how long does this rally have? I wouldn't even start to even count, look for a top until we've seen at least 3 or 4 bars following the breakout. It would be cool if we could minimize the lines here, and this is why I like looking at the histogram with the MACD lines minimized. You can actually even see if and let's see if you can mess around with this. No, you can't change it. That sucks. It's kind of open. Maybe we could, really zoom in on that. I wonder if you can, let's see what I'm just going to get. Oh, there we go. Cool. You can, and here's another really cool tool as well. They call this the KISS, right? Where the MACD is, the relationship is so strong and it's above the moving average, and all the market does come back is it just kisses the moving average and turns back up, right? You can see the kiss, right? Kiss the 0 line and then turn back up. But I would even say, the breakout really looks to me like it came in on this bar, and look, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're getting the blow off top right now. That's cool. So if anything on the 4th bar, you have to, when you look at your MACD study, did everybody understand that? Do you think anybody could replicate that? And you can do it on TradingView. It doesn't really matter what market. And the cool part about TradingView is the MACD histogram is very countable, right? And you can move your cursor. Let's see if we can give you a good example here. I even like, just a cross of the 0 line and starting the count there, just to get an idea of how far a market can move, and before it needs to maybe take a pause. So, if we go here and then break out, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So that one actually came in 8. If we go, even off of this, well, that's not really the best example. Well, even across the 0 line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it was the 5th bar that topped out. Right on this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4 to 5. It's just weird how it works that way. And if you get to 4 and you don't see the reversal, then you can start thinking 8, and then if you get to 8 and you don't see the reversal, you can start thinking 12. So let's count this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, no signs of stop. 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, it came in 7, 8. It's a weird sort of like the push has to actually go on for a length of time before you can really start thinking about reversal. And so just with regard to this one, which I think is really cool, is that this is a clean breakout, nice double bottom, and it's strong. So if I was going to count, right, how long I should be expecting this, we're now getting into bar 4, right? And you're seeing the final sort of projection of that push. Now, this might be one big-ass fucking candle. I don't know. If anything, I would be expecting maybe a couple bars here of even just to calm down a little bit. So that's a really cool little tool, little handy, you know. Let's see how long this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that one went 8, right, off of the crossover of the zero line there. You know, here, this is a good example. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it had to take a pause, and that's probably 4 bars in itself. And then it rolled over again. You see the rollover is about 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's kind of cool where you can sort of count the age of the move. I don't know. Does that have any help to anybody? Wow, so cool. Doji and MACD. Well, I didn't see that. Anyway, MACD crossover. It's a handy little tool just to throw in your tool belt, right? That's a lot of the stuff. And I just never get around to it in the sort of introduction to MACD tutorial because we just have so much to cover. But I have, you know, sort of tried to point that out to others before when I see it. And I just happened to see that. And it jumped out at me, so I'm glad we recorded that. Maybe we should go and splice that and add that to the MACD introduction module. I don't know. And the interesting thing too here is, can you kind of see it's, you know, this site's, you know, it's kind of a cool site. Can you see how the moving average of the volume, and you could argue this to a certain degree, this is kind of like our volume impetus. This is just going to show the raw push. You can kind of see that it's waning on this last final move up here. Volume bars themselves, we even got a little bit of a volume impetus, little m. Can you see how the bulls kind of are losing steam here? So Tom, I know you really like to study that. I thought that was interesting, right? You got that high there, and now we have a little bit of an m here, and look at the m that might develop and really what this moving average is really illustrating is sort of the interest, right? And so if we get an M in the moving average, it means the general interest, you know, especially on the buy side, since this market is so buy side tilted, the buyers are kind of, you know, if this thing does M, are going to be kind of losing interest. So that's a really cool sort of application of moving averages of volume indicators. Can everybody see the potential M that's trying to develop here? Can you see that? Yes. All right. I put the chat away, so all I see is just quick little yeses. Yeah. Oh, that was gold. All right. Awesome. You know, we are recording this, and actually we're doing the live stream. So anybody watching on the internet, this is gold. I see there's only 15 people watching, so. I don't know whether we advertised this to the world. I don't think we did. And probably anybody that came in on the first one was like, fuck it, I'm not doing that again. Poor old alerts. All right, so Adam is posting BTS in the lounge. Let's go see what BTS looks like. And this is interesting. Fucking, this is, well, I love what I see this, right? Get your fill. And then boom, it just fucking tanks right after it. That always makes me laugh. Oh, goodness. Right there I go, phew. All right, BTS. Ooh, wow, big dumpage. Oh, boy. What the hell is this? Is this a crypto? BTS. 2.6 billion out. Oh, Jesus Christ. You know, at some point, guys, we're going to go back to a market that sort of values these things back at value. You know, if anything, any new people, anybody watching on that stream, anybody watching in the lounge, anybody watching here, this Google Hangout, you know, this is not healthy growth. This is really quite unsustainable growth rate. And this, unfortunately, is how a lot of new people to trading blow up their accounts. Happens in the stock market, happens in crypto. You know, even if we try and, I mean, I can't even connect the dots here. But does that look like a 40? Does that look like a sustainable growth rate? I mean, it's just, this is unsustainable over time. And if anything, you know, people in the lounge and stuff were posting the Wycovian model stuff. And I gotta admit, that sure looks like, to me, very Wycovian. Right? So please understand that, you know, there was an accumulation for these phase for these things. I suppose that would be down here. We're going through the markup phase. But, and Adam, are you watching this? Anybody know what happened with BTS was working a bot than this? Yeah. Well, and Adam, I don't know whether we can really, you know, I suppose off the daily price charts. I better type this. Come into Hangout. Oh, maybe there was, I don't know. Maybe we can go off of there if we're aggressive. And that even goes beyond 66. That's tough. I don't know. I mean, really, I could see like a bullish bot setting up here. That one made 61, right? So a nice little W through here to play that. It's getting awfully old here. And that went beyond. Well, okay, that's doable. So if we go like there to there. And then we go there to there. That was the end of the move. Can you guys see how this was like so institutional? Look how they're close and open, right? That is a fucking brick wall there now. So I'm not quite sure if I agree with Adam that there was a bullish bot. I mean, I suppose you could go there to there, but just that one low, and wicks and tails like to be eaten. This is actually a fractal right here. This bar, and this bar. If we break this low, that is a big sell signal right there. This is an inside bar. You could argue bull-bear battle lines, right? If we recapture this high, there's the range. If we take out this low, see you later. It looks to me like there's some unfinished business right here. And then really, ultimately, this is what I'm fearful of here, guys. Names like this, you know, that silly XDN and the Verge and all that shit. Right? There's no reason why we can't come all the way back down to these levels. Right? This thing could very easily come right back down into here. Now, let's go and throw on some indicators and see what they're suggesting. All right. So those are some levels marked up on the chart here. Actually, I like the 30 SMA and the line in the sand off of this range coming against like that doji candle right in there, that low there. Somebody stepped in and defended this right there. So that's an interesting level. Never really did get a volume push confirmation, volume impetus that this was a breakout to new highs. So I don't know. That's a little bit of a divergence. In fact, we kind of just saw that, right? What were we just looking at where we saw that? Is it on the Bitcoin chart? Can't remember. Interesting here how over in China on the 15-minute chart you can see it there too, eh? The other buyers just didn't step up, and now the sellers have actually come up here a little bit. So we may have seen a short-term top. And actually, this is a really good example of value. So can you guys see how we zipped up here above value? And I suppose if we drill down to like, say, like a 5-minute chart or something. So you could make an argument that we tried to, can everybody see value here? Value, can anybody see value? Right, it's the purple area here. So we went above value, right? We broke out, we sat up there, and no new buyers really came in. I don't think it's single ticks, but Hogue, if he would see this and he'd just see that there just wasn't that much buying interest up here, he might actually seriously consider shorting just for a revisit back to value high. In this case, right, boom, the market comes right apart and comes right down, even past the POC, down into this area here. Right? We should actually be really curious. Let's even do that. Let's go. We're going to do that. Okay. And then let's go here let's go to here. Let's see what the profile looked like through that. Okay, so heading into this event, wow, it's even worse, right? So can everybody see how value? There wasn't that many buyers that came in as we were at this point right here, right? Right there, not where we want to be. We didn't even move it back. Wow, isn't that interesting? So this move here, this is actually what we call single tick. So this move up here must have been some sort of stop run or something. They washed a bunch of people out. The market just sat here for another hour or so. And what is this? Oh, that's a 5-minute chart. Jeez, that's nothing. Some more buyers came in, but they just couldn't bring value up. Right? Just couldn't bring it up. And market loves to come right back to value. This is interesting too, because this is potentially a Hogue value trade, where if we spend 2 consecutive bars, this is a 5-minute chart, right? It's not very long. But if we spend 2 consecutive bars within value here, 80% of the time, we got to go down to value low. And you can see there's just a little snooky right here that's outside of value on the downside. Value low is right here. So you can see 1 bar came into here, but no 2 bars. The second bar ratcheted out of there. Isn't that cool? I mean, you can literally hunt for this shit. So the market ratchet out of there, says, no, we don't want to be into value, because if we stay there, it means we got to go down and visit value low. So the market tried to, maintain, but we're now drifting down back into value. So we'll see if this bar holds, if it stays in here, and then we print another bar and we stay in here. Then 80% of the time we got to go down to value low. So that'd be really interesting to watch this play out. And it's interesting too, because do we have any sort of letters of the alphabet here in OBV? Does anybody see anything that sort of is like, oh geez, that sort of looks maybe bearish? Yes, really need to look for fine details. Well, yeah, especially with like Hogue and value trading. So, this is what the profile looked like up until here. Let's go see what the profile looks like now. Okay, so there's that session. Okay, so according to the whole session, and this is cool, right? Into value, right back out. No, we don't want to be in value now. Oh, fuck it. Okay, I think this thing's comfortably in value. And it's basically telling you that it probably wants to come down in here. And you guys have probably seen on the site, I sometimes have on my charts a little heart right there. And you can also see it on the entire profile, the cumulative, this big sort of valley in the profile where we have this peak. Let's see if I can do this. So we have this peak. And you can see guys got really excited right there. And then we have this peak. And you can see that, they were really excited right there. But what usually happens is we have to go down and fill in the profile. I wasn't going to say anything. It's good to see that you guys picked up on that. Brian just having some fun. Anyway, so the point is that if we can't accept above value, and it looks to me like we're losing value here, odds are we're probably going to have to come down to value low here. All right. And it's interesting too here. We have momentum. It's kind of softening here. And we've got a nice little M in OBV. I don't know whether, I mean, for the purposes of the site, I just can't get into trading off 5-10 minute charts. Just way too much. So really mostly I'm a spectator, but there's no reason why you can't hunt setups. Would I, I suppose one could argue this is a pretty nasty bearish engulfing. Although I don't think that is this high higher than that high? I remember Michael earlier this evening was like, I'm totally feeling like Bitcoin's got a dump. And I was like, well, I can't really think dump as long as China and really de facto Japan is still moving higher. And I mean, on the daily charts, there's no sign of failure here at all. And you can really see, look at the fight that's going on here in Japan, right? Really, I think it's Japan that's sort of driving the bus right now. And everybody else is taking their cue off Japan. So actually, this is kind of cool. Isn't that weird how it's like that, eh? Can everybody see the potential M here? So we went up, down, up. If we break through this low, that's going to confirm this big M. There it is. 5-minute chart. So, I mean, I don't think we really, run for the hills. But at least it'll give you sort of direction. If anything, what I think is probably happening here is, a nice triangle. And I'd put on the fib spirals, and some of the guys on the net would be like, oh, God, he's doing fib spirals, run for the hills. If you have a setup, say Hollywood Nick or bot, etc., and you paper trade and test for a high... Whoops. Oh, darn, I missed the message. How can I see that message? I suppose I can do this, but then everybody on the live stream is going to see that. So, oh, well. Here we go. Boom. Where is that question? If you have a setup, say Hollywood Nick or bot, and you paper trade and test for high time frame success, would it work for these shorter time frames? If anything, what I'd want you to do, Keith, is I want you to look at the higher time frame and ask yourself which direction is it pointing. So remember in today's video, Adam was hunting a bullish setup, a bullish bot, where there was a big fat M that just confirmed in market structure. So, if you really want to high octane your trading, what you do is you simply, you go up to the higher time frame and you say, okay, what is this telling me? And where is trade location? And, maybe you're a moving average guy. We do fibs. This probably is a 38.2 level. Right, so you're going to wait, if you're a bull that is, and you're hunting long setups because the daily chart is pointing higher, then you're going to wait for the market to come back down into daily ranges where you can hunt longs, and then you're going to drill down to the lower time frame and hunt those long setups off the lower time frames. Does that make sense? That's the way the pros trade. Even myself, sometimes, Keith, I end up actually, after I do a trade, going, fuck, I was short in a bull market. Maybe that wasn't such a smart idea. But, this is sort of like my parents with me. They'd always say to me, oh, well, don't do as I do, do as I say. It used to fucking drive me crazy. So now as the teacher, I get to turn that around on you. I mean, I try my best to be the best trader I can be. Sometimes I fuck up too. And I should be journaling and self-exploring and trying to build myself and make Brian a better person, more disciplined, more patient, trade with the trend, blah, 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 blah. If you want to make this easy on yourself, and maybe you're a far better disciplined person than I am, identify whatever the higher time frame trend, the direction is. Try and hunt trade location off of those higher time frames. Be patient and disciplined and wait for the market to come into those locations. And then you're going to drill down to the lower time frames and hunt the setups in that direction. But what that often means, for a market like this, for example, if you're like, well, I trade like short-term moving average tags kind of like this, and I'll hunt bull setups here. What that means is, what do you think you're doing right now? Can you do anything? No, you just got to sit there and go, wow, this is fucking crazy, man. Look at it. Right? You just can't do anything. And really, that's the sign of a professional, is if you identify your edge. And I think, this trading is not easy. And I would say that, most people in the university environment that say that the market is random walk, probably 80-90% I'd say they're right. But there is those windows where when everything aligns and everything lines up, higher time frame gives us direction. In the level 2 programs, we teach you, in fact, that's what I have on here, to use moving averages to try and help you understand which way the institutions are thinking. And it's interesting here where we have the moving averages pointing up, and the market has broken that top there, right? So, there are tools that we even teach you in the program to try and help you sort of position yourself so that when you are hunting setups, you are hunting sort of in the right direction that the institutions are sort of telling you to do. Does that make sense? I hope so. Like if we look at this bits, for example, right? Like I said, I think there were lots of reasons to look uppy here. If anything, guys, this is probably a good story for you, is maybe when the moving averages get really wide like this, maybe temper your enthusiasm. But it might mean that you have to see this and be like, well, you know what? I don't really like trading really frothy markets. Maybe I still have a little bit on the books and I'm spoon feeding it to the market, but I'm not going to be hunting new setups here. I want to see this consolidation and moving average crosses. That's when I want to be hunting the setups. Something like that. Something that sort of says, you know what? Only off the higher time frames, when I see the market telling me, hey, I got to be bull, that's when I go into super stocking mode. And that's sort of how we build edge. And if you guys do that, I think I was telling you, and even really the 6 market matrix, same sort of idea here. In that, we're having a bit of FUD being thrown around the room tonight, and I was a little concerned. And I just simply looked at my charts and I said, okay, well, we can start thinking about hunting setups. And I'm like, fuck, am I missing something? Is something wrong? What am I? And I said, okay, look, we're using the 6 market matrix model trading plan. So it's pretty good at identifying short setups. So I just simply said, okay, are we at a respectable trade location where, we should be hunting? And the answer was yes. And then we just went through this insane RSI battle here that resolved to the bulls. So we didn't have a bear divergence working. So I had to basically stop the hunting process at that. And frankly speaking, we just made a new high here on this 4-hour bar. So I'm not ready to put a fork in Bitcoin just yet. And I think that's, where just simply I'm just following my setup, right? Maybe this push to new high, you see that RSI is not moving to new high. Maybe this comes up, puts in a nasty M, and then we can move on to step 3 where we start hunting 78.6s to frame trades. So that's sort of what I'm thinking about Bitcoin right now, I suppose. Not quite sure where I went off. This is it. Wow, what an interesting battle here in China, eh? 5-minute chart, right? So, if anything, I don't know whether I really like the idea of getting too aggressive on the short side here. I think you might get your heart broken. And especially with these Japanese, the way they're acting here, these guys are in face rip mode. So, it's sort of the same thing I said in the daily brief here. I mean, let's just let this top out. I am going to be actively hunting these divergences, and if a setup does come in, we'll take the trade. Follow the plan, but I just don't have anything yet. All right, does anybody want to look at anything in particular? That's usually what we do for the Coinergy shows, right? Is take a look at a few altcoins. Does anybody want to look at anything in particular? I think I want to fill my beverage up. I'll be back in a minute. Did somebody say something about GDAX was down? Did somebody have some news about that? Oh yeah? Alright, well let's go take a look. I'm not quite sure if we need to save this chart. So LTC is that LTC on versus US dollars versus Bitcoin? What? Where? BTC? I don't know, Chief. Interesting bullish divergence here. I don't know whether I really like the trade location. So we got one low, second low, third low, then maybe we have something. So it's still very, very early. On Polo. Yeah, one low. And if anything, you know, aggressive traders, this is a fractal right here. So I can understand guys who would take a shot off here, but man, that's an awful lot of risk. Because my hunch is that tail is gonna, you know, can you kind of see how there's a floor here, this tail here? And in fact, our level 2, we do this horizontal support and resistance, where if we get a whole bunch of highs and lows all in an area, it means that there's a heck of a lot of interest in doing business here. And a lot of sort of supply and demand battles. Like, look at off of that high right there. Look how important that was here, right? So I got a funny feeling if you're going to take a long shot, you probably really want to hunt somewhere in here and just risk against these levels. And if they're lost, market's probably going to crank down to the 200 period moving average. And internally, I don't like the look of this, right? And they just had a big fundamental event, and now that fundamental event is over. If anything, this is absolutely perfect example of forward discounting mechanism. And buy the rumor, sell the news, right? And you know, I hate to say it, guys, but you know, I heard that the SegWit shit is back on the table of accelerating it and all that kind of stuff. I think the debate's still going on, but they had a pretty big consensus out of the consensus, eh? So, you want to talk about a Bitcoin top. Sounds to me like we definitely have a Bitcoin top whenever the fuck that happens. Does anybody have an ETA on SegWit now? Anyone? Tom, you're pretty smart with this stuff. Bitcoin? Seriously? Computer geeks arguing? No way. Impossible. Whenever I think of computer programmers, I always think of where are they? Oh, they're not even going to show them. There's Matthew Broderick, but where the hell are the damn computer programmers? The two of them are classic. They're perfect. They're just like they're everything I envision. I think his name was Melvin. Do you guys remember those guys? Two of them? That's too bad. Anyway. They were just like the absolutely stereotypical what I think of computer programmers. And have you ever seen Gavin? You think Gavin's ever had a date? Poor guy. We're actually streaming this live, aren't we? So I better be careful what I say. Hey, I'm a programmer. I know, I should shut the hell up. I'm treading on dangerous territory here. Okay, so wait. Oh, we were looking at coins, weren't we? So like LTC, no, I ain't got nothing there. There's just nothing to do there. EXCL. Let's see what we got there. That's better. You know, you can see a floor is trying to be established here. The only problem is, do you see how far away? You know, I do see this a lot on these altcoins. They do this a lot. And, you know, my veterans, Sean, Tom, James, Benjamin, they've been through the ringer. They've seen this before. I don't know whether you guys have enough market history. This, when I kind of look at this, is, yeah, there is a potential cute little turn coming. But you got to understand that this is like open air down here. And they might just run it up and crap it out. Happens a lot in this game. You know, because this, you know, especially with this kind of, you know, ramp up here, and really you see this sort of way it went chop, 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 chop kind of thing. We might see that going forward. So, you know, you can't bet the farm. If you do see a setup come in, you're going to identify maybe it's like right in here. Maybe you're going to play the triangle, the double bottom. You're going to hunt RLZs, right, and try and sneak in here on the turn. But you got to understand, if you're margin or leveraging whatever, if we lose this floor here, we probably have to go head down into here. You know, we talk about wicks and tails. You might look at a chart like this and just say, you know what? I'm just going to let this one pass. Right? That's a marginal one. It's sort of there, but it's got like toss of the coin, because there is still sort of this air pocket down here. Who asked about this one? Somebody asked about it. EXL. Chuck the ball. Chuck the ball. Cool name. Does that sort of give you an idea what I'm thinking here? I don't think it's a, pound the table. You could take the shot. And if it plays out, great, rock on. It's a setup. I can see the bottom coming in, and I like the fact that you're not fucking chasing it up here. But at the same time, kind of toss of the coin. Could go either way. If anything, this is actually a really cool example of a moving average sandwich. And you see how this is the top loaf of the bread, and this is the bottom loaf of the bread, and price is just sort of playing in the sandwich. Ideally, I love when these things come right in nice and tight, right? And price just coil, and then pow, right? So, again. And I think they'll probably just leave it at that. That's what I'm thinking right now. PIVX. Let's see what we got there. Oh, Garrett, you asked us to take a look at Bella, eh? Is Bella broken down? I just got stop notification on my S&P trade. So, well, Bella hasn't broken. It's just sitting there. Same sort of thing, right? Can you see who was just asking about that before, right? That was that cool name guy. Oh, there he is. Chuck the ball, right? Can you kind of see how the market is desperately trying to get above this moving average, right? If it loses it, then odds are this is probably the range. I mean, this is one hell of a fucking battle. This thing's trying desperately to get above there. Can you see that? Real fight here. And very simply put, if we lose this level, I better get the fuck out of there. Got no business being in here. But, same sort of WE kind of action that we saw on your name just a moment ago. Is it worth taking the shot? Because if this thing does work, it's heading up into this area. Is that worth taking the shot? I think so. My stop is in profit. Okay, well, Garrett's feeling positive. I really, honestly, this thing could break either way. But if it breaks up, then I get paid $3. If it breaks down, I lose $1. It's as simple as that. Make sense? Garrett, you were asking about that earlier, right? So, all right. Does anybody else want to look at anything? What do I got here? Ooh, there's some up there. APX. Wow, that fucking APX is coming off like a son of a bitch, eh? Obviously, somebody doesn't like the look of that. What have they done to it? Are they ripping it apart? Wallets. 36% down on the open. Jesus, 1046. We must have gotten filled on something here. Holy shit. What? Is that today? I thought I already did those. Huh. Okay. Well, I guess we're at 1046. Jesus. These numbers are insane. Let's see what the hell this little crypto portfolio is. Have you guys ever seen this go up? I frankly speaking, I haven't even really seen client accounts go up this fast. This is insanity. I mean, just since some of you new members have been around here, I think this fucking thing might have doubled. You know, this is nuts. And the thing is, do you want to sell and go into fiat and have to realize a big capital gain? I don't know. Anyway, I see the little. Well, I guess that makes sense. So where are we now? 68.8. We're gonna fucking cross 70 G's here. And it's so funny because I used to joke with customers, and us as brokers, we used to always make fun of them. I would have a lot of customers that would sit on big winning positions, and they would sit there and go, well, I don't want to sell because I'm going to have to pay capital gains tax. And we used to always make fun of them and go, oh, what a problem to have in life, eh? You're going to have to pay taxes. Well, here I am. Careful what you wish for. You might just get it good and hard. It's hilarious. This is weird. Just started following this less than a month ago. My portfolio has quadrupled. I know, this is nuts. One thing, though, that you guys should realize and understand is that if this is going to happen, this is the time of year that it's supposed to happen. Are you, Tom? Be careful, right? In this world, the last person you want to pick a fight with is the tax man. It just never works. It never, ever works. It's just, you know, it's a lot easier for us to just fucking pay them their lump and just be done with it. I know it sucks, but it's true. Santor, what are you saying there? Especially on YouTube chats? What are you talking about? Taxman. The IRS, HRMC are watching. Well, I mean, I like to boost up my own ego and inflate my ego by saying that Big Brother's watching me and stuff. I mean, honestly, on balance, we're too small for them to even really give a rat's ass. But, you know, it's weird because we are so small. If you like fight like a $5,000 tax bill, they just could come along in Canada, for example. They can just basically freeze your bank accounts. And I know somebody that happened to. It wasn't even really, there's Shane. Should we let Shane in? What do you think? Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's let Shane in. There you go, Slick. Anyway, we do have some people watching on YouTube too, so that's kind of interesting. Not sure SegWit will get up in BC. Hey, there's Mike. Somebody posted something in the questions there. APX just opened for trading on BitMEX. Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at that, right? And I guess I didn't show you that, right? Like I'm watching it here because I just went and grabbed a half a Bitcoin of it on the open. But you can see it's down 36%. And I'm kind of like, what the fuck? And it was down about 40 some odd percent there. So I was really curious, what the hell are those guys doing? Hey, Shane. So, I mean, I don't know what kind of data we're going to get. And usually these things, when they come free trading, right, they usually crater right out of the gate. There's an interesting looking chart, eh? What do you make of that? I suppose, you know, is it going to have to go back to 0 here? I don't think so. There you go. So, actually, this is interesting. That probably is the tell there, right? So, there's your top. And I put an order in to sell at... where the hell is that order working? I'll let half of it go at 0.00295. So that's going to be up here. Right up there. Where are we now? 0.00145. So, you know, in essence, that's basically my cost, eh? Just sitting at cost. Really, I wouldn't be surprised that there's probably going to be some liquidation right out of the gate. Because there was that little bonus. You know, people will just lock in that 10% and just grab it. And, well, yeah, I suppose so. But really, the bottom line here is this is going to be a proxy on these little guys and whether they can actually do a half-decent job in trading crypto, right? I mean, that's what this is. So if anything, you know, these guys have really inflated egos. So I kind of wanted to grab a piece of them. So if they do blow themselves up, I can always, whenever I talk to them, I can always say, hey, how's APX treating you these days? If they do well, and I think they probably will, then I'll just ride on their coattails, right? And every time the damn thing doubles, I'll go and grab some. And what'll be really fun is I might even like trade their coin back and forth. So, you know, oh yeah, I sold, you know, a couple doubles. Oh, it's coming back into a reload zone. I'll buy some of your coin back. You know, that's kind of why I wanted to do this, so that it gives me sort of an ability to play them. I have no idea how they're gonna do, right? And you know, considering the accounts, like what about, you know, total Bitcoins, like what, 30 some odd Bitcoins or something. Throwing a half a Bitcoin at basically a bunch of guys who are trading more altcoins, I don't have a problem with that. In essence, isn't that what that FU money? Tom, I love your spirit. You got such a fucking good spirit, man. FU money. So, yeah, and I suppose you could argue, I mean, if you didn't, HMQ, is that another one that just came out? I don't think I got any of that. Oh, that's pretty healthy. Oh, I mean, Garrett, look at this. Holy fuck. Right? Can you see the W here? Right there. And that was also accompanied with a W right there. And a W right there. Like, fuck. Thank you. I bought ICO. So if anything, the that little one that we're looking at just a moment ago, just watch for the same sort of signs. You'll know that it's ready to go when you get a little W down in here, a little W down in here, and a little W down in here. Make sense? And I wouldn't be surprised. Usually they say that IPOs in the stock market. Oh, I guess, did I lose that chart? Yeah, I guess I did. What was that symbol again? HMQ, is that what it was? Usually they say new issues. Usually they have to fall by 50% when they're right out of the gate. And I remember that Facebook, it did the same thing. It was priced way too expensive right out of the gate. And it had to crater, and it fell like by 50%, and everybody was all upset. And then it bottomed, and of course, you know what Facebook has done today. So, really seeing this kind of behavior, and out of that APX, I wouldn't be surprised to see something along the same lines. I don't think you're going to be blowing that thing out at a profit tomorrow. is going to take some time to clean itself up. Now, bottom hunters, watch for a fractal. If we get a nice little inside bar here and then that confirms higher, then, probably odds are we're probably going to have to rally back up and fill a lot of this. And, of course, my sell level is sitting right up here, so you know that if this thing does actually get its act together, I'm going to be on the sell side right up top here. So, you want to join me? In essence, what it looks like is they just brought this thing right back to the ICO price. And this thing's probably priced at the value of whatever Bitcoin it was that they raised, right? Didn't they raise a bunch of Bitcoin or a bunch of UBIC or whatever? I'll be ready for the tails to be eaten. Yeah. If anything, yeah, that's actually a very good observation, Shane. Right? What'll probably happen is this thing will come up here, then it'll waffle, and then we'll start drawing our reload zones, and we'll say wicks and tails need to be eaten, right? All that bullshit, right? So that's a perfect observation, Shane. All right, anything else anybody wants to look at? JWL. What's JWL look like? JWL. I was buying a whack of this a while ago. Is it doing anything? Yeah. Just sort of bumping along the bottom here. Not a bad area to pick some up, but look at OBV. Oh boy. Somebody's consistently selling here. And it looks like they're even accelerating their selling. So, boo, hiss, hiss, boo. I think this thing still needs some more time. If anything, what I hope, right, is that we just sort of park ourselves in this channel. And, I was working bids. I think maybe I bought this double bottom in here. This thing might, hopefully, this thing just sort of sits in this channel for a while. And, of course, you'll know that this thing's ready to go when it breaks up through here. So you want to take a shot, little old lady, little nibbles against these lows. That's not a terrible idea. Let's see what kind of, 300,000, that's pretty cheap, right? When you get down into that area, a guy could actually take this over and run it up 10x and make a couple $1 million off of it, eh? So, interesting. And I think I was buying some of this. I don't have a problem owning this in here. But, did they just get turfed off of Polo or something like that? It would be nice to see that they're listed on Cryptopia as well. The fact that it's only Bittrex and Yobit's a little bit of a concern. But I do know I got some and I did buy some down in here. So. But Garrett bought some more. All right, well, there you go. If you can, working bids against these lows, I think that's not a bad idea. Right? You got to be buying. In fact, that reminds me of one that I was just buying here recently. Same sort of logic, right? Not sexy, kind of boring. Shane, there's your wicks and tails, right? Let the market come into the tail, right? And then you can start getting interested. So same sort of thing, not sexy. This is the shit that I'm buying, right? The NAUT is actually kind of like those other ones where, keep in mind I was buying not. I think we bought, off of this level here, made some money, selling halves on doubles and all that kind of stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I think I did this trade in here. I don't know. Moving averages are negative. OBV looks like a train wreck. Willie's stupid. That's good. You can see that there was some sort of momentum coil that was trying to develop here and it failed. So I think if anything, got to wait for another test of this low here on MACD and then get a turn up. And my hunch is that's probably going to be when this thing's down here. And then at that point, if you get that MACD divergence and you draw your fibs back up for the 50% level, that's probably going to set up a Hollywood neck. So my hunch is probably something along the lines of, I would just go like this, like that, like that, like that, and a move up there, and the Hollywood neck would be buying there, risking to there, and your target's there, which is a 2-to-1. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. So the irony of it all is, and we often see this, right, is, if we do a fib from here to here and then do reload zones. Little old lady just is like, I'm just going to go and buy in the area where markets like to bottom. And we may have to sit underwater for a while, but we're probably going to find that the market actually sets up the bottom. And then when we're banging out doubles over here, the level that we're actually long from, because we were working stink bids here, is actually the level that the market set the buy up off of. You'd be surprised how many times that happens. It's incredible. So, I can completely understand guys like James and stuff like that. We're in just working stink bids and saying, fucking, this is the place where I want to load up. Back up the truck. Beep, 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 beep. Hey, everybody like my delivery truck sound effect? So that's, in essence, that's what I think's happening, right? Is they're backing up the truck. And if anything, what we, for newer people to trading, it just backing up the truck and buying on the truck backup is pretty high anxiety, right? You're like, holy fuck, this thing just keeps making new lows. What am I supposed to do? Right? I'm supposed to buy? Okay, fuck, oh shit, oh god. That's tough. I'm not going to argue that. And so for a lot of new people to trading, that's why we sort of developed to sort of reduce the anxiety and just sort of see that there's sort of internal signs that this trade idea is going to work, and sort of divergence kind of a talk. I'm trying to do this really quickly. Something like that, right? Willie's stupid. We get a W in price that sort of structures your trade. That's going to reduce the relative anxiety of taking the trade. And right, that's what we really want to get you guys to the point of, is that subconsciously you see enough times that you take these trade setups that more often than not, you're winning. I'm muted right now. Did somebody mute me? No. All right. I can hear you. Brian may not know. Your click tab to mute no. Okay, I'm not quite sure I understand. Okay, so the point here is, and this is why we teach in the level 1, is that we want to wait for the setup to sort of almost put the fucking trade on a silver platter for you. So that in your sort of level 1 experience, I want a high degree of accuracy. I want to shoot for that 66 kind of idea. So let's see location. Let's see divergence. Let's see structure. All right, everything's come in, all right, and now I can see the level I'm going to buy at. I can see exactly where I'm going to risk against to. Because of that ratio, I know exactly where I need to take profits. And what's really cool is if people go through this process, it becomes very robotic. After you've traded for a while and you have that subconscious confidence in yourself, and you've seen this happen repeatedly, that the fucking market loves to bottom in the reload zone, you're just like, fuck it, you know what? I know what's going to happen here. I'm perfectly comfortable just going and pulling the trigger off of the line in the sand. But that's asking a lot for new people to trading. Does that make sense, guys? Cool. Because really what we want to do is we want to get you all of you guys, right? We want to get you to the point, and really anybody who's watching, we got about 10, 15 people watching on the internet. We want to get everybody to the point where you're running around in the market and you're not even thinking about the process of running around. You're out having fun in the market. But you can't do that if you're riddled with stress, if you're riddled with anxiety, right? If you're thinking about, oh, fuck, how do I operate these damn legs, right? You can't be out running around in the garden. It's impossible. So, you know, I've got legs, okay? And are they freezing their asses off right now? I know whenever we talk to Shane, he's always, I don't know if he's on the top of fucking Mount Kilimanjaro or what. When do we get to fly? Well, you know, that's another one altogether, Chief. All right, Adam's got a chart for us to look at. What are we going to look at here, Adam? All right, so it did break the bottom, just kind of like my and of course, can you understand, Keith, if Bitcoin keeps face ripping up, then a lot of these potential bottoms that are forming here just aren't going to hold. Does that make sense, Adam? If anything, I sure hope you're journaling this, right? Again, we're off a 120-minute chart. We kind of talked about that earlier. Would have liked to have seen what the daily chart looks like here. I don't know whether we actually, you know, and remember we even talked earlier again about the same sort of thing about volume. You can see that as this thing's sort of working away, the volume interest is sort of waning here. But the long and short of it here is this has failed. The setup is a loss. You better get the fuck out. Okay. So this is valuable information, Adam, and also both to how you feel. Incredibly valuable information. You're probably feeling a bit discouraged right now, and that's okay. Don't let it reflect in your education. Just keep learning, keep coming back, day in, day out, keep learning, but really journal. Like, the experiences that you're going through right now are very real, and that's extremely valuable information. Extremely valuable. And really, if anything, maybe ask yourself, what did I learn out of this setup? Is there anything that I learned? Maybe we should temper our bullish enthusiasm while Bitcoin's going parabolic. That's maybe something. Remember we talked earlier today about having a couple momentum indicators validate the signals. Be interesting to see what your volume momentum indicators look like here. And really on balance, you know, Adam, kind of like, because I believe, I wouldn't have a problem taking this trade right here and risking to this level. And kind of like the S&Ps, I'm going to have to report that I got stopped out on my trade tomorrow. It's no big deal to me. It's a trader's life. Just as long as you make sure that your average winner is bigger than your average loser. You can bet 50% and still make money. Be wrong half the time if your average winner is bigger than your average loser, right? Does that make sense? All of you guys, every one of you, super important. So really taking a long shot off of here, if this trade did work, kind of like that other one, and kind of like that the little Bella trade that I'm in, if it works, fuck, we're going to get paid big time. But if it doesn't, well, we're not risking a hell of a lot. What did I do with that chart? I guess I got rid of it. Now, like I sort of said, and what was that one? What was the symbol that we just had there? Where did it go? I got rid of it? Ah, fudge, I did. Can you... Oh, here, I'll just click on it again. Douche. What was it? It was NEOS off the 120 minutes. Oh. NEOS. And seriously, dude, like totally journal this. Right? Okay. Maybe even make a rule, and I'm not quite sure how the hell you're hunting a long setup here. But I think you need to make a rule that I'm going to use the 50% level as sort of my, okay, you know what, maybe I got to temper my enthusiasm here a little bit. Because when I look at this daily chart, I do not like the idea of hunting longs up here. right? This looks dangerous. Look at where the 200 period moving average is, Adam. So, you know, do you see how even up here, you know, on your potential bot long setup, playing off the 13 EMA, you're taking a shot, but can you see how MACD is actually put in this little M here? Can you see the M? So it's not really that well defined, is it? It's not really an M. But, you know, remember we talked about 4s earlier, right? So break above 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're at bar 5, and you're starting to hunt long setups. Uh-oh. I don't know. Were you here for that when we did the MACD bar counts? Did we, so maybe go and watch that, the live stream and stuff. I think where this is being recorded. Go and watch that earlier. Super, super valuable, right? That after 4 bars of a MACD move, maybe start tempering your enthusiasm. Wait for some sort of consolidation and then look for the 8. So what I see here is, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're basically up in nosebleed territory, right up against this high. This fucking thing has got a blast here, or it's going to fail. And sure enough, it rolled over. And now you could even start counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we've crossed above the 0 line. You could even do a 1, 2, 3, 4 off of this to see where this thing ultimately wants to trough. So I don't know whether it's a good idea to be hunting long bots up here. So if anything, you know, here's another great example for you here. I think you need to make a rule that if the price is substantially away from the 200 period moving average, you can't be hunting long setups here. This is a terrible trade location. And that's okay. I don't want to be, please don't think I'm beating up on you, dude. I'm not beating up on you whatsoever. You got to go through this and you got to learn this stuff. And you're learning through the school of hard knocks. So hats off to you for being so public. There's a lot of people on here that are, you know, they've got trade journals and they got entries and stuff, but they don't have the balls that you have to come out and just post their trades and go, oh shit, look guys, I got stopped out. All right, Brian, just tear my ass apart. Why did I do wrong here? So, you know, hats off to you, and you will benefit from this. So, and like I said, this is being recorded, so go back and watch this later on. I think you got to create a rule that, hey, if we're beyond the 200 period moving average, maybe let's just cool our jets. There were setups that developed through here. Maybe we even say something where, you know, the setup has to develop off a moving average tag. But hunting long setups up here, I really don't think that was such a good idea. All right, I've said my piece there. I apologize. Didn't mean to beat up on you. If anything, remember we talked about this earlier today. Do you remember, Adam? We said we're going to hunt. And Mauricio, are you here, Mauricio? Because Mauricio is going to do exactly the same thing. Is that you over there? No, I guess Mauricio's not here. If he watches this later. You know, he's a buddy of Da Vinci, and he really likes, you know, can you see? And I remember, Adam, when I said volume earlier today, you were like, oh, volume. I love volume. But, you know, can you see the little W that developed right in here? So if you were hunting longs, right, maybe this was a bot that you could have taken here. I do see some half-decent lows to work with. And then you go down and you look at your indicator and you say, well, do I see bullish stuff happening in these indicators? And I see a nice W there. I love when OBV does W's like that. And then, of course, we got this nice breakout here on the MACD. So something to consider. And yeah, this is a daily chart. You know, Brian, he loves to operate off the higher time frames. I think if anything, maybe that's where we need to get you straightened up. Let's just go and stick with the daily charts, okay? All right. All right, who else has the balls like Adam to step up and be raked across the coals? Tom, XMR looks like a buy. Just had a big developer pump and dump. All right, let's see what we got here. Ooh, wow. Jeez, what a mess. Ooh, nice W in Willie. Volume impetus, you can sure see the bears sure are in control here, eh? Is that was that tool that I asked you to create where it changes color based on the moving average relationship? Was that you I asked to do that? Somebody I asked to do that. I haven't used that in a while. Yeah? That's awesome. That's interesting. XMR. All right, let's go take a look. Physiotype. Hello, Physiotype. XMR. What do we got here? Oh, wow, what a mess. I suppose that's probably where, well, I don't know what time frame yours is operating off of, but that's interesting. Yeah, so it's interesting. They broke it out here and then slammed it right back against these moving averages. So, you know, if you are a bull, that's not a bad area to go and pick some up. You're right. Bot? I don't know whether that's a bot, because that looks like that's more than 66. This just looks like maybe a reload zone setup. Take a sip here. Wow. Actually, here's a good example. Can you see the fractal here? Terrible trade location now. Ugh. But, wow, it took balls to step up and buy in here, eh? If anything, guys, this is a great example of, you know, just because we use these tools, sometimes the trade just doesn't set up pretty. 2,850 in South Korea. Extreme premium. Gonna hit 3 Gs in Korea. What's our Chinese markets doing? Japan. Oh, fucking look at Japan. Oh my goodness. That's our daily chart too, so it must be right back up at the top of the range. Look at that, eh? Fuck me. So, can you see where here's a great example where the price chart was pointing higher and maybe hunting short setups here in a in a market that's extremely uppy is kind of dangerous. XMR, Reddit is on fire. Was there some sort of big scam or something? What's going on, hater? You wanted to come off mute and tell us what's going on? Am I seriously the only one's gonna talk here tonight? What's up, guys? Anybody want to talk to me? Do I smell or something? Well, we've lost Tom.
Hey.
Hey, there he is.
We're back. Yeah, so the dev just tweeted saying there's, well, the last couple of days they were pumping this big announcement that was going to happen at a conference today. And it turned out to be, he'd made like a prank video.
Oh,
saying he walked into this hype and there was no announcement. So, yeah, so that explains that.
Well, that's actually a bit sad. Why would he do that?
Yeah, it's a bit unprofessional. The internet's not happy with him.
Yeah. That's, well, I can think of one past student I had that was very immature, is very similar to that. You know, there's a group of, like, guys on Fluffy Pony. the XMR guy, that's his name, Fluffy Pony. There's a group and you know, like a guy like Tom's very earnest, very serious, so I do not classify a guy like Tom with them, but there is a group. Have you guys ever heard of that Kazanomics guy? There's a group of them. They're very immature. It's quite stunning how immature they are. You know, the sad part about it is they know the rules of money management, so they're making money in the market. But man, some of their attitude and stuff like that is just, ugh. It's not my style at all. Steven, now there's a guy that's my style. If you're ever gonna sort of take life lessons from a guy on how to be a good person, fucking Steven's the man. I think he does like missionary work in China. That's Steven's fucking going straight. As soon as he dies, he goes straight to the pearly gates. He's probably gonna be escorted. Anyway, actually, both of those guys, Tom and Steven, right side by side. Look at it. I mean, all of these. I could just go through all these guys. I've got to know them through the education program and through being on the site. Spencer, fucking what a stand-up guy. I mean, these people are just beautiful people. So all you new people to the site, I really hope I get to know you. Garrett, great guy. Benjamin's in here, fantastic guy. And I'm learning, getting to know some of you new people. Just beautiful. I think I was saying that even in the daily brief today. I was saying it in like the European class today. You guys are just awesome people. You're the awesomest, and I love being around you guys. You guys are just such good people. It's awesome. Such a privilege. Oh, it really is. It really is. Well, I don't mean to sound gushy, and I'm sorry, Garrett. Sometimes I become a little bit of a pussy like that. Sorry, but I really like to make people know that I really appreciate them. All right, what do we want to look at next? What's next on the hit list? Who's behind the spike in Bitcoin? Is it a big conspiracy? LOL at mainstream Bitcoin articles. Yeah, like some clown fucking went on Twitter today and said, well, the reason why Bitcoin's going up is because money is being pulled out of altcoins. And did you see my response? I was like, what the fuck? Have you looked at my account recently? It's nuts. Oh my God, we're getting close to 70 G's. Are we? God, this is crazy. I mean, you could buy Bitcoin and be happy with $2,000, or you could fucking trade altcoins and you could have like 60, 70 grand. It's your choice. And then, of course, when I do it just so matter-of-factly like that, people on Twitter get all upset at me. But anyway, lots of fun. Okay, what do we want to look at next? Somebody put a symbol up here somewhere. ANS. All right. ANS. What do we got here? Half decent looking chart. Looks a little late to be a buyer though. Yeah, can you see how the bottom came in down here? Right, there's your bottom down there. So, I mean, can we buy up here? I don't think so. JC was touting that one for a while. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad looking name. Looks like it's half decent. Is it a respectable amount of coins out? Yeah, 50 million. Not too much. $62 million market cap. Fuck me. Right. Yeah, that's probably a smart way to be thinking right now. If we do reload zone off the original bottom, can you see how this line in the sand is going to be kind of like 200 period moving average against all these tails in here? So if you want to be cheap ass and work stink bids, I like the idea down in this area. That's not a bad idea. But, I mean, this is the crazy, silly season. Could this thing spike up? Sure. Somebody's got a fucking buying appetite here, right? But I couldn't go and spend my money here. It's not me. Trig? What's Trig? And actually, I want to take a look at that silly test. I'm still waiting for a fill here. Somebody asked me to look at tests earlier. Ah, shitty. I got an offer sitting up here at 315. And it looked like they were bidding it up, and then somebody just whacked it yesterday, fuckers. So, no fills there. IOP or DTB. IOP, I do like what I'm seeing there. It's looking better. All right, look at that. Look at that cute little bottom there. Look at that MACD divergence. Look at that W on fucking Willie. Right, so it's interesting how we were in here buying when this thing looked like shit. Remember, I just told you a minute ago, quite often what we see happen is you know, for the newer people to trading that need to see more anecdotal evidence of a bottom forming, they need to see divergence, they need to see W's and momentum indicators. What a shock. That looks like that's developing off of the area where we were sort of working our stink bids. You guys have heard me use that term, stink bids, right? So I, if I was going to be looking for a place to put money in crypto, this is really the kind of place that I want to be thinking. And watch it just fucking crap out here. Remember, guys, what have I told you about opinions? That's the funny thing is people always go, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? And the irony of it all is that 9 times out of 10 when we give our opinion, usually it's wrong. It makes me laugh. But I like to speak with my dollars and cents, and I have put money to work in here. So, just let my pocketbook do my talking for me. Okay, somebody asked DTB. What the hell is that? DTB. Boom. Oh boy, this looks tough. Well, obviously that's probably not real. Looks like, oh, do you see how they left a gap right here? I wouldn't be surprised if this thing has to come down and fill that gap there. Yeah, there's a hole in the charts right there. So if I was cheeky, and I do still have some crazy ass bids in the order book that are like this, I just throw my stink bid against this level and just work the order. Crap. That's not a good sign. Why are you saying crap? Can you see the W here, Garrett? Right? I do like buys right here. This was the level to buy it off of. But once we get up here, you can see this thing sort of rolling over here, right? And really, does this even have enough data for us to really do proper technical analysis off of? Yeah, it's tough. I suppose, if you're like, well, but, and that's kind of like that A and X kind of thing. If it just fucking craters here, looking back in hindsight, and the irony of it all is almost all of these coins have done this. I mean, I don't know what the hell the story is to make this thing open up here. But we often see these coins eventually work their way up into this candle here. So, I mean, in the short term, is this thing pointed up? I don't think so. You saw where I'd like to buy it, but if you little old lady this, just threw it in your portfolio, my hunch is you're going to get doubles out of this down the road. So. Club. I think I bought some club, didn't I? Maybe I sold some recently. I can't remember. Name sounds familiar. Oh, yeah, I remember this one. We were working stink bids against these gaps. And I was like, when this low here failed, it's like, oh, shit. So you can see the divergence is trying to form here, but we're going to need to see some sort of spike that sort of says this thing's still alive. Right? Which will confirm the divergence. You'll see a W that'll come in here. And then we can start hunting for structure to know that this thing's turned. That's probably what kind of happened through all this here. You can see a bit of a W in MACD there. Nice little W in Willie down in there. And there's the trade there that set up that trade there, that rally. So I do remember I did buy a whack of this. I'm long from this area here, little old lady style, not momentum. We were just trying to pick bottoms here against these lows, and as you can see, it just hasn't bottomed yet. It's not there yet, which sucks. We might be on this thing a little while. Little old lady has got the patience of Job, though. Try and remember that, okay, guys? All right, Andrew says he's off to bed. All right, take it easy, Andrew. Yeah, look at that. We got some people watching over here, too. Hey, Brian, can we look at ETC, ETH? I see a W, but could be wrong. Well, I did see ETC jumped up quite a bit recently here, right? So we're probably seeing some play on that. Yeah. You guys remember we've been following this for quite a while now. Yeah, there it is. So you see the original double bottom in the spread, and then they put this double top. This was the talk of ETC's going to have an ETF. Then this was the talk ETH was going to have an ETF. No, I'm not personally. No, I'm not personally. And then I saw on Twitter the ETC guy. What are they doing? There's like a new thing that they're doing. What the hell was it? ETC. There's something that they're doing. Does anybody remember just off the top of their head? Gotta run. Thanks, Brian. That was great and lots of fun. Take care. All right, Santor. Take it easy, bud. What is it? Can somebody just go Google ETC and find out? There's some sort of new product or some sort of new service that they're getting involved with. They're taking people's money. Well, that's a whole other conversation altogether. If anything, this kind of looks like a shark. All right, can you guys see the original market structure? And what happens if we go and throw a 78.6 on this? Look at that, motherfucker. Can you guys see the shark? Right there. Anyone? Can you see it? All right, buying the 78.6 off the original market structure tag. It's a pretty fucking good trade, eh? That's that shark, I tell you, man. It's powerful stuff. Very powerful. So, anyway. I suppose if we look at... so, Daniel's over there on YouTube. Hopefully that helps you understand what I see. You know, we have a bigger structural turn in here. So we can actually start zooming out and saying, well, is there any sort of upside objectives we could be shooting for? You know, if we just go off of this low back up to this high. It's kind of interesting. You guys have heard me talk about candle bodies, these peaks. Can everybody see this level right in here? This close of this bar right here in the open of this bar. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. There's a little bit of wick there. There's a nice wick there. So I could actually see this thing reach up into this area here. That wouldn't be shocking, believe it or not. So, yeah, interesting spread, eh? Off of the original double bottom. Did you have the, you know, if you were trading this, look at this beautiful W in here, right? And what happened out of that. So we had this one rallied up, and then, you know, if you had taken profits, or even if you had just said, fuck, look at that M, you know what, I'm going to hop off, but I'll consider it again on the 78.6. And what's cool is right on that 78.6, look, it totally dojied. Look how it just came down here, hit this 78.6. Everybody, you know, take a screenshot of that. That is basically the market saying, I don't know whether I want to be down anymore. Can everybody see that? It's just really that simple. So you see a doji that comes in right off a key level. That's pretty powerful stuff. And if anything, what probably happened here was they just went, you know, you guys ever heard me talk about my and I gotta find that cartoon somewhere. But my favorite stock market cartoon is this Wall Street fat cat, and he's got a couple hookers on his legs, and they're drinking champagne, and he's got a top hat, and they're wearing, you know, his top hat and stuff. Everybody's having a big party, right? And the caption down below is, and then we went after the stops. So that's exactly what I see here, right? Where basically they probed, trying to go after these stops down in here, and they tripped them up. They went after that liquidity, and then the selling stopped. You see that? Really cool. Anyway, I hope you guys see that. So, what time is it? 8:30. How long have we been going? I guess we've been going a couple hours here, right? All right, guys. Well, what do you think? Should we call it a night? I guess I'll see everybody in the lounge. I'll probably be typing away as opposed to talking. But it was kind of fun. At least we got this platform with a streaming service set up, and it's set up with a 180p. So hopefully everybody who is watching on the YouTube page, Daniel over there on YouTube says, thanks Brian, I'm at the gym, can't hang out. Well, that's cool. Don't hurt yourself. So hopefully people enjoyed that stream. Actually, that was kind of cool. It says bad video settings. It says please use a keyframe frequency of 4 seconds or less. Oh, that's interesting. Current keyframe is 8.4 seconds. Note that ingestion. All right, well, obviously this. Oh, we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. Well, that was kind of fun. Okay, guys, we'll end the live stream there. So I'm just going to hit this button. Let's see what happens. Stop.